That's the good stuff right there. Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, if you're stopping by for the very first time because of this video, let me introduce myself. I am L to the W. I'm a disabled veteran, an avid coffee drinker, and a car enthusiast, especially American muscle cars. If any of that interests you, please go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button. Join me on this journey that we call cars, coffee, and life. Life involves travel, involves cars, involves a little bit of everything. My wife is originally from Russia. We've gotten to travel to that wonderful country. We plan on going back, when this whole COVID mess resolves. We bring an interesting perspective between a Russian and an American veteran that I think you might find interesting. Our interactions can be kind of hilarious at times, and we have quite the interaction between each other. So please go ahead and join us on our adventures and subscribe to the channel. Today's video is going to be about why I decided to buy a Class C RV. Yeah, go ahead and grab you a cup of coffee. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit as to why I decided to buy a Class C RV. Okay, so number one, I've been camping for a while through a lot of my life. It's always been tent camping, and ironically enough, I always used to make fun of people with pop-ups and trailers and motorhomes. I was like, man, dude, that's not camping, man. You need to get out here and sleep on the ground. Well, as you get older and you end up with a busted back, your priorities kind of change. Me and the wife have been talking about some type of RV for quite a while. Then last fall, we kind of had a very failed tent camping experience in upstate New York. We went up there very ill-prepared with kind of like a summer tent. The wind blew right through it. The rain kind of went through it. I borrowed the tent from my dad. And it really did not end up well, and it kind of cemented our decision to go ahead and get an RV. Plus, one of the reasons we're looking for an RV was our game plan for the future is to go full-time for a few years. Her, like I said, originally come from Russia. There's a lot of this country she would like to see. She'd love to see some of the history and culture of this country. And then for me, there's a lot of stuff that I would like to see. Initially, when I got out of the Army, I got a Class A CDL, which allowed me to drive 18-wheelers. So I drove cross-country, and there was a lot of this country that I saw, but due to the size of a semi and the complexity in that, I wasn't able to stop at a lot of places and visit. I was on the job, I was on the clock, I had a timetable, but also just the size of the rig. So there's a lot of this country I still want to see. So that's one reason that we're looking at an RV is our travel. So I made a checklist, kind of the pros and cons of every type of RV. So let me start out with travel trailers, because that was the first thing that was knocked off the list, to be honest with you. I said my experience driving over the road, when you're into a vehicle with a trailer, it just complicates things driving and parking and stuff like that. We want the freedom that when we're traveling, if we see a roadside attraction, we just want to be able to go ahead and pull in there. Now granted, this motorhome's 30 feet long, so it's a little bit on the long side, but not bad. It's about the length of 2 cars, so if I have 2 parking spots, I can pull straight in, or I could fit into one if I can put the back end over like a grassy area or something like that. So this size vehicle is not terribly difficult to maneuver, at least not for me, having semi truck experience, large truck experience. This to me is very maneuverable, very easy to get in and out of spots. So, the size and that, it's all about what you want to do. So I want that freedom, and I didn't want to have a trailer. 2, with my back, several busted discs, I didn't want to mess around with the trailer. I didn't want to have to mess with unhooking, safety chains, cables, leveling, and chock blocks, stuff like that. A lot of stuff that would require bending down that I really have a hard time doing. So travel trailers just really didn't fit into what I wanted. And then third, I really don't have anything that can tow. I'm a car guy. All my cars are sports cars. My wife has a mid-size SUV. It's a Buick Envision, and it's only rated to pull 1,500 pounds. Now, I know I can get a small trailer lightweight, but that doesn't fit what I wanted to be able to do down the road by going full time. So we just kind of took trailers off the list. Even with the fifth wheel, I didn't want to have to go buy a larger pickup and to have something that would pull. And to me, I don't need all of that space. It's just me, the wife, and the dog. So I mean, a fifth wheel was just like really overkill. You know, I don't need a washer and dryer. I don't need a fireplace and a big island kitchen. I actually like the simplicity of this vehicle. One of the things I was looking for was something without slides. So I didn't want slides, so that just took trailers right off the list. Not so much with the slides, but so trailers got off the list. So then it left Class A buses, Class B, the smaller vans, and Class C's. So initially I was focusing in on the Class B's. I like the mile per gallon, and I like the fact that they're smaller, a little bit more nimble, easier to get in and out of. The problem with Class B's is they're, due to their size, they're a little bit more confined. So if you really want something with some kind of room, you're going to have to get slide outs. As I said, something I didn't want. I wanted one less thing to have to maintain, one less thing to have to worry about, one less thing to look out for. You know, when you set up a camping, you got to make sure that they're clear. You don't want to hit anything. You don't want to hit your water pole or your power pole or any of that when you're putting the slides out. You got to make sure when you put them in, there's nothing in the way of the slides. Even if you have slide toppers, you got to make sure that, you know, there's not a bunch of rain sitting on the slide toppers. You got to make sure it's still any sticks or debris aren't caught up in there. You know, it's a good idea to get up on the roof, and that's not anything I wanted to do. And also, a lot of Class B's have what's called a wet bathroom, where the shower, toilet, all that's combined, and that really didn't seem that appealing to me to have that. And to me, it just felt very confined. I'm a taller guy. I'm 6'1". I'm kind of a larger build. To me, I just didn't feel comfortable in the Class B. It also felt very tight walking through there. You know, it's a little bit easier for my wife, but even she kind of just really didn't feel like it worked, because a lot of them too, either your bed area is in the back, and in order to have a dinette or someplace to work, you either have to convert that down and make that a bed, or some of them, the beds are up above the driving area and they lower down via cables. Now that could malfunction and break, and then you're really stuck. And you know, understand, a lot of these RVs aren't designed for everyday use like what we have planned to go out there full time. So these beds aren't designed to go up 365 days a year. So things you have to look at. You know, it's important, you know, what kind of camping you're doing, your frequency, and what you want out of the vehicle. So as much as I like the Class B's, I like the mile per gallon, we decided to pass on that. We just we started looking at Class C's and just really felt that fit our need. Now we did look at some Class A's. There was one we really kind of liked. I really liked the way the seats felt. It felt pretty good driving it. It was nice and roomy, but at the end of the day, it was just didn't really work. I didn't like the fact that the bed was in a slide. I had planned on doing a sleep number, which is what I have installed in here, and sleep number beds don't fold in half. And then two, also, we want to have access to the bathroom while the vehicle's in transit. You know, my wife tends to need the bathroom more than me, so we wanted accessibility to the bathroom. We also want accessibility to the kitchen, and the smaller Class A's really didn't fit that. I mean, I guess could have looked around, but I really just didn't like the design and overall shape of a Class A. Also, for the type of camping that I like state and federal parks. My wife does too. You know, that's where I've always done my tent camping, and the size of the vehicle can become an issue there. So I found like the sweet spot to be about no more than 30 feet. At 30 feet and less, there's a lot more available camping spots for you to have. So you have to know what kind of camping you want to do. If you're doing RV resorts, it's probably not going to be any problem getting larger vehicles. But for state and federal parks, especially federal parks, they're a lot older, and some of the state parks, there's not a lot in the way of pull-throughs. Yes, some have them, but they're limited in numbers. So if you have 100 spots, maybe 10 are pull-throughs. So it's something to consider, that when you're a smaller vehicle, your options are more open as to how many spots you can fit into. So That's why I like the Class C. It's a little bit more than what I wanted. You know, it's bigger than the Class B, but I can still fit in. I feel comfortable driving it, and I can get into all the state and federal parks pretty much with this thing. It's not a problem. Another thing with the Class A's is understand that the entire bus is built by whoever makes the RV. So the entire front end, the windshield, the whole front end, all that's made by the RV makers. And I'm not saying they're not safe, but what I like on the Class C, even the Class B's, is that they're an actual production vehicle. So like this is built on the Chevy Express. It's the full-size van. So the whole front end of this thing is a Chevy Express. So it's been crash tested. It's been put through its paces. I feel pretty safe having this as my vehicle, having this front end. Granted, I know all back here is built by Jayco, but my front end's a Chevy Express, and you know it's gone through the paces, and I feel it's pretty safe. I just feel more comfortable with this than I would like a Class A. Like I said, just Class A's. What I like too on the Class B, something you have to, Class B's and C's, something you have to consider. A lot of Class A's, there's no exit out the front. There's no doors, so you're confined to exiting out this side of the vehicle. Now, God forbid you're in some kind of accident and you roll over. If you fall on the passenger side, you better hope your emergency window, your exit window is on the driver's side, or you're really going to be stuck. You might be able to slide out a window, but I do like the fact that I have a door. We have 2 doors in the front. I have a door here and an emergency window. I get plenty of ways to evacuate out of this vehicle. So that's another reason like I like the B's and the C's. So also, that being said, my game plan to go full-time, the Class B's are super limited on storage, so when you're going to go out full-time, you're going to want to carry tools, extra parts, extra clothing, blankets, things like that. You know, because you might end up in a wintry situation where you're going to want a heavier jacket, stuff like that. Or maybe you're used to all that and you want go down to the beach and have some summertime stuff, so you want some beach blankets, whatever. You want to be able to have all that extra gear on there, extra, you know, equipment to fix the vehicle, so you're not waiting and you're down for a long time at an RV shop, and the extra clothes. So storage was another key thing. So the Class B's really lack on that, so that pushed me onto the Class C. So that being said, too, so once I narrowed it down, and one of the most important things, actually, before I get, you're going to have to do your research, go online, look at some videos, go through stuff, but the most important thing you could do is go to a dealer and go through the vehicles. Go to an RV show and go through the vehicles. I really kind of had my heart set on this 125-foot version of this, and then when I got there in person, it didn't look like the photos. See, the kitchen was like here and the bedroom was right behind the kitchen, so basically whoever slept here against the wall would have had to climb over this person to go use the bathroom through the night. And you know, it happens. We're older. I don't, you know, go through the night without having to use the restroom, so it's kind of something we had to think about, you know, our needs and how we live. And that just really blew that out of the water. So I was really wanting something shorter. So once we saw that, we started looking around. It just kind of nixed that. And then actually it was kind of nice because when we got into a larger Class C, one like this that has a couch over here, I really kind of fell in love with the idea of a couch. And this really worked out great. One of our first camping trips, we got into a lot of rain, and we spent a lot of time inside. And with the couch, me and the wife were able to sit here, be comfortable together, be really close, hold each other, and stuff like that. So the couch was really nice, and you know, we felt very comfortable in here. So I think it was a good choice for us. I mean, not everything's gonna fit your needs, but for me, you know, the couch and all. So instead of being 25, went to 30 feet. I was willing to make that sacrifice to have the extra room and a little bit more storage and stuff like that. So I think it was a good trade-off, you know. So you might have a preconceived notion as to exactly what you want, like I did. You know, first it was Class B's, and then when I started thinking about it and researching it, I was like, I'm not sure, and I was kind of leaning the Class C. But when I went to the dealer a lot, for me, it was like the most important thing I could have done. Once I found out that really wasn't for me, I went back and started looking at more Class C's, and that's when I found this. This happens to be the Jayco Red Hawk. It's a 27N. It's a 30-foot. It's on the Chevy chassis. I loved everything about this. There's a huge pass-through storage on the back that goes under the bed. It's huge. We got like 45 gallons of fresh water. It's solar prepped, so lots of storage. And to me, this is what we really felt was going to work for me and the wife and the dog. We can go full time. So that was kind of my mindset. Like I said, I made a list of the pros and cons of every different type of vehicle, and just knock things off the list. Trailers, I really didn't want that mess. Class B's I felt too small. Class A's were too big. Class C was just right, and I think we made a good decision. All I can tell you is take your time, make your decision, whatever it is that you want. Don't rush into this. I know right now with COVID, a lot of people are rushing. They're going out buying RVs and that. Don't let this be an impulse buy. Take your time. We actually thought about this a lot through 2019. In February 2020, we actually went to an RV show. We were looking for this model. We wanted to see it. They didn't have it. What they did have was one model that had the same exact bedroom, and then they had another model that had a similar kitchen layout. So between the two, we were able to put it together. And the funny thing is, I tell you, RV shows are great for making deals. The dealer had 3 of these on the lot, and I told him, I said, hey, I found another dealer that has this with the hydraulic leveling system, which is another reason I picked this one. Jayco actually preps all their Class C's for hydraulic leveling systems. With my back, I didn't want to have to bend over and put those things under the tires and level this thing. I really like the fact that this model had the optional hydraulic leveling system, so that's what I wanted. And I found one in Indiana. I went to the show and showed him the price, and that guy's like, I can't even sell you the one we have on the lot for that price. So the Jayco rep got involved. He's like, if I can get you that price, will you do it? He came back, talked to the owners of the RV dealer that we dealt with, and he came back. He's like, we'll get it for you that price. We're gonna have to build it. They don't have it, so that's what happened. We ended up ordering it. It did get delayed due to COVID. Right when it was about to finish, the plant got shut down. Jayco was very nice, sent us some pictures. I explained to him I did YouTube and wanted to document my journey with this vehicle. So I got some pictures of the vehicle started, and then it didn't complete, but I got what I wanted. And it was kind of like really a win-win. I got the hydraulic leveling system that I wanted. It was factory installed. It's covered under the 2-year warranty. And then I got a vehicle that's never sat on a lot. I've never had, this vehicle's not sat on a lot and had 100 people go through it and pull every cabinet open and that. So I got an absolute brand new vehicle directly from Indiana. The day it arrived to the dealer, we were following close behind to pick it up. A little bit too close. They weren't too happy with us, but we got pretty much the day after it arrived. It got there about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We started heading that way. So yeah, if you're gonna make the decision, I highly recommend either renting one. There's some websites where you can rent from individuals, or like RV America. Rent one, make sure it's even something you want. Have you even camped? Have you ever tent camped? Have you ever been out in any kind of camping? Because you might find out that you get out there into the woods, and the quiet, the bugs, things like that maybe don't work for you. Maybe you really don't want to have to handle a sewer hose and empty your tanks. And I mean, that's part of RV life. You're going to have to do that. You're going to flip open a power meter and find a black widow or something in there, some type of bugs and spiders. Stuff you're going to have to deal with. You're out in the wilderness. So, things you have to consider, guys. So just take your time, make the decision wisely. It's pretty common that a lot of people that buy these things go through 2 or 3 before they find one that works for them. So take your time, make the decision, ask yourself, what kind of camping are you going to do? Are you comfortable with the size vehicle you're going to get? Even if you buy a trailer, does your vehicle you own now, can it actually truly tow it? I've seen so many people overload their pickups thinking they can buy a 1500 and pull a huge trailer. And when you're going down the road and the back end of your truck is sagging like that, you've overloaded it. You got to be safe about that stuff. Another thing you need to look at too is, if worst case something happens, can your spouse drive whatever vehicle you get? Like if I fall sick or I get injured, I need my wife to be able to drive this as well. So just take your time, make decisions, ask yourself these questions. What kind of camping? State, federal parks? Are you more into RV parks? Are you just short day trippers? If you're just going on day trips, then a Class B is probably going to work out for you. If you're just on a weekend thing, Class B or maybe a small little travel trailer is going to work out for you. Something lightweight you can pull behind a smaller vehicle. Like if we were just doing camping on the weekend here and there, I probably would have got a small lightweight trailer. It would have been cheaper and easier, or not easier, but it would have been cheaper in the long run than buying a motorhome. So, like I said, just important. Ask yourself, what kind of camping do you do? How much do you need? Do you need a 50, 60 foot long trailer or whatever some of these fifth wheels are? Can you live in 25, 30 feet? Just take your time, do a lot of research. A lot of great videos out there on YouTube about all different kinds of trailers, motorhomes, and stuff like that. So, hopefully this video gave you some insight and some pointers to put you in the right direction as to what will work for you. Not everybody's situation is going to be the same. Maybe some people hate Class C's and don't agree with my opinions, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. But, like I said, I just did a lot of research, and I feel pretty confident in, like, my decision to go with the Class C was the right one, especially for full-time RVing. So, hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you subscribe. Hopefully see you around more. We got some camping trips coming up. We got some fall colors we're going to be visiting. We're definitely not going to freeze this year. And we're definitely not going to be sitting there getting wet and rained on and end up in a hotel, leaving the tent abandoned. So check out my video, that one. That was kind of funny. Funny to talk about. It was miserable then, but it was funny. So hopefully we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving me the time to discuss this with you, and hopefully you got something informative out of it. Don't forget, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, share this with your friends, family, co-workers, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.